Have you ever had something in your life that you would like to keep forever? Maybe one of your relationships, your job, your youth, or even your life? Now, imagine for a moment, how would you feel when any of these things come to an end? Maybe your partner leaves you, or an economic crisis happens and you lose your job, or maybe someone close to you suffers an accident or even dies. How would you feel? How would you react when any of these unexpected life events happen to you? If you're like most people, you'll grieve about these events. You'll cry, complain, and blame. You'll spend a lot of time and energy resisting something that is, instead of just flowing with it and trying to find a solution to it, if there is one, of course. What I'm going to share with you today is a different way of looking at these unexpected life events, and hopefully you'll be able to minimize the suffering that you're experiencing at the moment or that you might experience in the future. Firstly, you have to understand that your mind's nature is to polarize everything into opposites. Day and night, up and down, here and there, life and death, noise and silence, love and hate, and so on. Your mind creates tension in between these two opposites, but the truth is that both are one and the same thing, and they need from each other to exist. Day wouldn't make any sense without night. Here wouldn't make any sense without there. Up wouldn't make any sense without down. Therefore, each side of the coin needs from each other for its existence. How would you know that you're happy if you have never been sad before? How would you know that you're here if you have never been there? How would you know that you're having a bad day if you have never had a good one? How would you know that you're healthy if you don't know what illness is, or if illness didn't exist? Now, try to imagine this in a different way. What is the first thing you notice when you start reading a book? The text that is written in it, right? You pay attention to the text rather than the background in which the text has been written. I want you to accept that the text without the background wouldn't exist, and that the paper without the text wouldn't make any sense or wouldn't have any meaning. Therefore, foreground, which is the text, and the background need from each other to exist. They are linked, or in different ways. Without text and without background, there wouldn't even be a book to read. Now, I want you to bring these last two concepts together so you can get a better understanding of what I'm saying here. Imagine that the way you experience life is as if you were reading a book. Let's call this book the Book of Life. And this book is full of life experiences which are written as chapters. But sometimes the book has to come to an end. And when that happens, you become aware of the background more than ever. You become aware of the pain that was behind your pleasure. You become aware of the aging that you knew was linked to your youth. You become aware of the death that you knew it was behind your life. You become aware of the happiness, you become aware of the sadness that was behind your happiness. The problem is that when the story comes to an end, you become aware of the background more than ever, and you fear this, and you resist it, and therefore you suffer. You usually interpret this as something bad. And you fear getting old, you fear aging, you fear dying. But you totally forget that these are necessary as they give sense to their opposites, which are life, happiness, youth, pleasure, and so on. Also, when you're enjoying a chapter that you really like, you totally forget about the background because you're focused on the text only. You forget as well that the background was necessary for the text to be written. And you totally forget that the story had to come to an end. And even though you knew all these things, you resisted. So if you knew that all these things were going to happen, why resisting it? Why suffering more than is necessary? You wouldn't understand what a beginning is if the end didn't exist. So the story has to end. That's it. That's life. It's inevitable, and that's the way it is. I'm not saying that it will be easy, and I'm not expecting you to be completely indifferent about these life situations. But you can cry, you can complain, you can blame, you can resist what is, and nothing's gonna change. What you could do though is to become aware of the background as you start reading the book of your life. As you do that, you'll become aware of the duality that exists everywhere. You become aware that for whatever life experience that you're living at the moment, there's an opposite linked to it, and that without this opposite, your experience wouldn't exist, or it wouldn't even make any sense. If you can understand this, you'll become aware of this duality, and you'll have a different way to see life. And hopefully, just hopefully, you'll be able to minimize your suffering.